New Thought Media Network proudly presents Having Courageous Conversations, where real talk dives deep. Each week we go beyond surface talk. We open our hearts, speak our truths, and dive into the stories that shape us. No scripts, no filters, just powerful, unforgettable conversations about life, purpose, healing, and truth. Join the conversation, because your voice belongs here. Please like, share, and subscribe. Check out our YouTube channel at Having Courageous Conversations or email us at yourshowyourvoice@gmail.com. Now, let's have a courageous conversation.
The views and opinions of our guest and hosts do not necessarily reflect those of New Thought Media Network, or any organization we may be affiliated with. Here at New Thought Media Network, we welcome freedom of speech and courageous conversations. There are many topics that can be difficult to navigate. Challenging the status quo and engaging in lively debate is important to expanding our understanding of one another, and life in general. Creating a peaceful world doesn't happen because no one disagrees, it happens from a willingness to understanding one another. In our programming, we strive to expand consciousness and assist people in creating remarkable lives. Your comments are welcome at info@ntmedia.org.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to today's episode of Courageous Conversations. Having Courageous Conversations is a heartfelt, spirit-led online series where we explore the transformative power of honest dialogue. Rooted in authenticity, compassion, and spiritual awareness, the show invites you and invites voices from all walks of life to engage in meaningful conversations. I'm Cheryl Rogers, and I'm delighted to be here with my wonderful co-host, Mark Dupuis, and our wonderful guest, Meir, and his life partner may join us too. So this is going to be a very special show, and I'm going to let Mark introduce you to him.
Thanks, Cheryl. It's so nice to be here with you, and we have an added guest today. I believe it's Jen that's here with Meir. I don't have your bio, Jen, but I will introduce Meir. Meir Schneider is a PhD and was born with cataracts and lived as a blind person for the first 17 years of his life. Through dedicated work with his eyes and body, he regained significant vision and went on to help thousands of people improve their physical function and well-being. He is the founder of the Self-Healing Research Center in San Francisco, and I believe you said you are sitting in San Francisco right now, Meir.
Yeah.
In this episode, we'll explore the inspiring work and healing journey of Meir. And we'll just have a conversation on where you're at now, and let's just take it from here.
Yeah.
So
welcome.
what do you want to tell us first? Welcome. And what do you want to tell us first? How did you start your journey?
It's interesting. I was born with cataracts. You know what cataract is, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
What is it?
Is it like a skin that covers your eyes?
No, because many people say exactly what you're saying.
Well, there you go. So teach me.
Cataract is opacity of the lens inside the eye.
Okay.
I was born to deaf parents, and I was born with cataracts. And only 1 out of 20,000 infants are ever born with cataracts. My 2 children were born with cataracts. They're now adult children. And I think in my case it happened because my father had a laboratory at home of photography, and the chemicals affected my eye. Well, anyway, I was raised blind, basically, with very little vision. And I had 5 unsuccessful surgeries by top surgeons in Israel. And the result is that 99% of my lens became scar tissue.
Wow.
And but worse than that is that what we learn is how much the brain has part in seeing. In that the first 8 weeks of any infants tend to not look at the world. But at the age of 8 weeks, they have to see at least about 2 feet in front of them. They don't see well, but they see very sharply 10 feet in front of them. And what happens is that if in that time you don't see for any reason, whether you have cataract, which is opacity of the lens, or problem with your retina or the optic nerve, if you don't see then, you become blind for life. In fact, they made an experiment where they patched an eye of a cat, and the cat could only see with one eye, the eye that was not patched. So basically, that's the time that our computer, our brain, receives the whole idea of seeing. So because of my cataract, I couldn't develop it. For example, my children had surgery at the age of 2 weeks. And even though my daughter has a small cornea, which is also a problem, removing her lens in time made all the difference in the world, and also doing eye exercises with me. And so the end result is that my son sees better than 20/20, and my daughter sees close to 20/20.
Wow.
Most kids who are born with cataracts can see about 40%, 50% of 20/20, which is still so much better vision than being almost blind.
Yes.
So I was raised as a blind kid to deaf parents. And I was the quickest Braille reader in the state of Israel already in my 6th grade. And I thought that my life will be a life of a blind person. Until I discovered a high school dropout kid that have shown me eye exercises. And he took it from the Bates method. It was a discredited method, but I think still a very good one. Doesn't matter what everybody's saying. The question is what works.
Yeah.
And I spend 13 hours a day, every day, working on my eyes, sometimes even 16. Consciously, unconsciously, many, many ways. And I learned to not escape the sun and being put dark glasses, but adapt to the sun with a special exercise we call sunning, where I move my head all the way from side to side, facing the sun. And my pupils would constrict when they face the sun and expand when I'm away. I had terrible nystagmus, which is an involuntary movement of the eyes that moved at the speed of 300 movements per minute. And I did the exercise of palming, putting my hands around my eyes, sometimes on hours upon hours. These days, we have what we call a palming stick.
This one.
Okay, I have this one, where I can put the stick in different holes there, so I can put it in a way that I don't bend my neck or straighten my neck, and I really relax my eyes. And the result was, well, I've learned the principles of natural vision improvement. And I'll just tell you a few of them. One is deep relaxation of the eyes, because my nystagmus went down from 300 movements per minute to between 0 and 12. Okay?
Wow.
I could not know looking, because I would look at you and my eyes would look at the wall. I would look at the wall. My eyes would look at the other wall. I would look at the ceiling. They would look down. I had no control over the eyes. You saw probably a famous actor, a singer by the name of Stevie Wonder, and his eyes are moving a lot. Very similar to that. So I slowed down my movement, and then I learned, and some of the principles is to relax the eyes, look at details, adapt them to the strong sunlight, adapt them to the weak night, because we don't have night, and people walk with sunglasses and prevent themselves from adapting to the sunlight, and looking at the distance and expanding the periphery. There are many more principles. They're all in my book, Vision for Life. But I just want to say that I've built up enough vision that instead of having 1% vision, I have now close to 70% vision. I read, write, and drive. And I just want to show you and to the audience where are the pictures. Here they are. This is a normal lens. It's my ex-wife lens.
Mm-hmm.
Is my lens after 5 surgeries in my stronger eye, my right eye.
Right.
And in the fact that I have less than 1% of lens area from where the light can go through, I build up enough vision that today is about 70%. I read, write, and already from the age of 28, I'm driving. I just got a license for 5 more years. So at least from the age of 28 to 76, I'm driving, and I hope to renew it again.
That is wonderful. Really, such a wonderful experience. You know, I don't want to use the word story because, you know, this is a real life experience, and you're talking about principles. You're talking about things that are unseen, but that do work. And so I'll share quickly with you.
I hope it's the science of the future. I hope it's the science of the future. To understand potential is much greater than we ever imagined. That will help us to prevent paralysis, vision problems, and other problems. And that's why I teach classes all over the world and also on the internet.
Wonderful. And yeah, I think both Mark and I, you know, agree with you that we hope that this is something that will be used more and understood more in the future, because I certainly know that there's so much more to what we can see with our 5 senses to this life experience and the power we have that we aren't aware of. So that's fantastic. I have to ask you, Meir, being almost blind and living with deaf parents, you were basically living in a silent world. Am I imagining that
Not
correctly?
Did you hear people? Did you hear deaf people talking?
Yeah.
So actually, it's pretty noisy world, and yeah, I had problems. I would be low. My father would go with me somewhere, leave me somewhere, and I didn't know where he was, and I would scream, and he was deaf, you know. So he took a good Samaritan to find me and to find him and get us together. It happens sometimes. Other thing is, as I grew up and my mother wanted to leave me a message, she would dial the number from the photography shop that he had and say the same message 10 times because she had no idea when I would pick up the phone and when I would hear what she's saying. So there were all kinds of interesting situations like that where it was hard. My mother took me to meetings with her friends, and they would sit down and sew and talk to each other. And believe me, it wasn't quiet. But I would sit down and read my Braille book, and they were very nice friends. From time to time, they would stop me and give me a sweet, which is not too good because I still have a sweet tooth, you know. But I had all those situations, definitely.
Yeah, well, that is so interesting. Thank you for sharing that. There's so many, I think, unique experiences that you had in your lifetime, and will still have, I'm sure.
I was known in the Deaf Club of Tel Aviv as the blind son of Ida and Abraham.
Okay.
Parents,
Yeah. So, okay, well, and your journey to healing. Do you know Joe Dispenza? Have you heard of Dr. Joe Dispenza?
I heard, but I don't know him.
So what he teaches is the plasticity of the brain, and just how we can shift the connections, the connectors in our brain, so that we change the path of the neurons in order to heal ourselves. And so I wonder if
something else.
Sorry, say again?
Let me tell you something else.
Yes.
Let me tell you something else.
Please.
A third of the brain is the visual cortex. A third. Another 20% of the brain is connecting to the visual cortex. I think that we have our vision straight because we use our vision better. Like we have a good macula. That degenerates with so many people. We have very good macula. And eagles have two maculas, and they see exponentially better than humans. But most animals don't have good macula. For example, if you see a bear, don't move, because the bear will smell you but will not see you, because his vision is more peripheral. So that's what happens to most animals, in that they don't see where exactly you are, which is very, very interesting. So we have strong vision, and the most important part, of course, is the retina and the photoreceptors. And you cannot really develop the brain well and prevent senility if you don't work on the visual brain at the same time. And there are very nice, simple exercises, and some of them are not so simple because they also include imagery, new kinds of exercises where you work on vision improvement, as it's written in my book, Vision for Life. And you take the steps for vision improvement. And the result of that is that then the work you do on your body affects very well the work that you do with your eyes. It's very clear now. I was a heretic in the 70s when I studied pathophysiology, when I was thinking that the brain has plasticity and can rebuild itself. Right now, it's the common opinion. Everybody thinks so. What they don't have is the techniques to do it. And there are definitely wonderful techniques of the brain.
So
you have your life partner beside you, and I'm curious how you met, and is it Jen or Jan?
Jean.
Jean?
Jeanne.
Jeanne?
Yeah, it is a French
Okay.
name.
Okay. And if you wanted to share your story.
Yeah, in fact, in 2011, the ophthalmologist tell me that he needs to do a vitrectomy because he diagnosed pseudo-lamellar hole, which is a degeneration of the retina.
Hold on. Vitrectomy is removing a major part of the eye, removing the vitreous body, draining the fluid, and putting silicone instead. And it always has, or many times, a very bad ending.
He told me that a few months later I would have more cataract and I would have glaucoma. And my husband had the same surgery and he lost his vision completely. So the first 5 minutes, I told him that for me, the extraordinary measure would be at the end. And I would try everything I could try before. So I tried every natural way to be in health. Yoga, acupuncture, semi-fast, I had homeopathy, osteopathy, yoga, kundalini, I had dance for the pleasure and the movement, gymnastics, Zumba, everything. I was going to sleep early, I was moving more, and nothing was enough. At this moment, my former boyfriend was a psychic. He told me that I would save my eyes with eye exercise. Didn't find anything in Quebec during 1 year and a half. And finally, one day I was in a bookstore. I opened a book about diet, and I opened the book at the only page where Meir was mentioned. It was Yoga for the Eyes, Meir Schneider. I asked my former boyfriend if this person can help me. He said yes. So I communicate with me. He was going to New York. So I jumped in an airplane and I went to him for a 3-day workshop, one private session because I didn't know I could have more. And I came back with Vision for Life and the instruction he gave me. So during 1 month, I worked very assiduously and I saw my ophthalmologist again. And at this moment, he didn't recommend the surgery anymore. It was in 2012. And now we are in 2026. And each time that I saw him, each 6 months, after that, each year, it is all the time better. So last time he tapped on my knee, said, "I'm happy, you forgot to age." I said, "I'm happy too." He never asked what I did, but his technician came to his lecture in Quebec. Anyway, maybe he knows. But I'm very, very grateful. And after that, I wanted to bring Meir's method in Quebec. Now I'm more often out of Quebec than in my place, but I'm seeing some people time to time when the 3 weeks I'm there. So I'm very, very grateful and happy about that. And I must add that my mother was blind, 2 uncles were blind, my husband loses vision, even my boss was losing his vision, my colleague was blind. I was all the time surrounded by eye problems and I wanted to help people. I was asking the universe to help. So they bring me exactly at the right place.
Mm-hmm. Wow, wonderful.
So thanks for joining and thanks for sharing. You were not prepared and you said, yes, I'll sit beside my partner. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So now you're life partners and you travel together.
Yes.
And you work together?
Yes.
Wonderful. Yeah. And so I'm just intrigued by both of you with how you've basically improved your eyesight with nothing other than your exercises, Meir. So I want to ask you, with somebody who wears glasses, who used to have 20/20 eyesight, could they get that back and not have to wear glasses?
Absolutely. The main thing is you do it gradually, right? So you do eye exercises, and then you
Oh, frozen.
40, right? And after you improve your vision, which within 2 months you'll see 20/20 at the lower prescription, you reduce it again, and then you see better again. It's like, glasses are like crutches, basically. If you wear glasses instead of taking care of what made your eyes worse, the eyes are not going to get better. In fact, with time, they degenerate and get worse.
Mm-hmm.
And what do we teach people? We teach people to connect between the brain and the most precious part of the retina, called macula. We teach people to expand the periphery and to connect between the brain and the central periphery and the very extreme periphery. We teach people to look at a distance because, in the past, people used to be hunters, food gatherers. Pay attention that Bedouins in the desert have much better vision than modern people. Pay attention that the bush person, Africa has much better vision than modern people. That people in the Amazon have much, much better vision. And so in rural places, people have much better eyesight than in cities. And I would say that we don't look as much at the distance. What are you and I doing? We're looking at a computer. Actually, I want to tell you, we have a laptop and I have a television. So actually, I see you on a television. So for me, you are a star. But anyway, what I want to say, Cheryl Marge, is that we get cataracts not because we age. We get cataracts because the lens did not work fully. Just like you have hip problems because you sit all day. Just like you have all kinds of problems because of your lifestyle. This morning I was running cold beach of San Francisco, just with my bathing suit. People got used to me. Even now, you know I'm 17, right? You know that, right?
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
I'm 17. They only switched the numbers wrongly, you know. They put the 7. But,
They got it. But if they saw
anyway,
you running, they would know, right?
yeah. So what I'm saying, yeah, definitely. So the point is, well, I definitely do less well than I've done in my 60s. I would run there quicker, but I still go to the beach where everybody is wearing coats upon coats in San Francisco. And I run the beach, and on days which are a bit warmer than today, I also bathe in the ocean, which is like 11 Celsius or something like this. And I enjoy it, you know. And I was also once cleaning Jeanne's balcony. She didn't allow me to do it without my bathing suit. She said that she doesn't want to do it to the neighbors. But I didn't care. So I put the bathing suit, but with flip-flops, I would clean the snow at what, about 8 degrees minus, something like this. And I enjoy it. So the point is this. You need to work on your circulation. You need to be aware of the fact that the body has 600 muscles, and most people use between 50 and 75 of them. And the rest are dormant and are not being used. And then in most gyms, we learn to overstrain the muscles we always use. And so we need to, even a paralyzed person, in many cases, everybody's paralyzed differently, right? But in some cases, you can find muscles they don't even know they have. So what I want to tell you, which is so important, is that you and I have capacity to be more vital when we ever imagine we can. All we need to do is to explore more connection between the body and the brain, more connections between the body and the brain. Do movements we normally don't do. An example is you can have some people who can play guitar with their toes. Sometimes some armless people learn to feed themselves with the toes. And yet most people have no access to the toes. And when I get them to try to do them separately, they can't do it. But the muscles are there. I can read Braille, but most people would make no sense of it because they didn't learn to sense that well. So what I'm trying to say is our potential example I can give you. There was a girl who came to me from Alberta, from a native tribe. And her complaint was that she's totally blind in the right eye except for color sensation, but she sees 2200, which is the big letter on the chart, and so she's legally blind, and it's uncorrectable. And she had a nerve disease related to not having enough iodine produced by the pituitary gland. Okay. So I sat down with her and with her mom, and we chit-chatted, and she saw the 2100 line, 40% normal vision. And she said to me, she never saw it with all the top doctors in Canada. I said she never relied on them. Then we went to a dark room. I patched her twice in her seeing left eye, and I started to have a light that blinks, red light that blinks. At first, she saw the color. That I expected, because she told me she sees colors. But then she saw the light bulb itself. Later on, she saw me, her mom, my 2 assistants, and a dad. I said, well, that's too good to be true. So then I took her to the trial, and she's very athletic, but with the 2 eye patches over her seeing left eye, and she had to catch and throw balls. We walked around in the street. She could read big signs. And what did we discover? That all this year, and she was then 18, she thought she's blind in that eye. Doctors thought she's blind in her eye. Parents thought she's blind in her eye, but simply the brain did not use it. So you call it lazy eye. And then the 2 eyes started to work together. Vision improved to 20/60, which is a fantastic vision. It's about 70% of normal vision, or close to it. And then we worked on eye teething. What does that show you? If for 18 years, nobody thought she can actually see with that eye, shows you that a lot of what can be done to us is sleeping, is latent, is unfelt by us. It's through movement and exercise. Like in my book, Awakening Your Power of Self-Healing, I have 600 exercises and 400 illustrations where you learn that actually you can have better awareness of your connection to your body, not simply vigorous, strenuous work. Many people are miserable with morning exercise. They kill themselves, you know. Instead of that, what they need to do is to sense themselves, to have a sense of what needs to be done next. It's just like when if you're a composer of music and you hear some music, you know what's the next note.
Yes.
Like if you're an author and you wrote a book, you know what's the next line. Same in your body. Just open yourself up to the movement. Your body is movement. Your cells are moving all the time. And if you sense that, and if you also get the right body work, things can get better, completely better. Most of the vision problems can be prevented. Most of the paralysis can be prevented. Most of injuries can be remedied.
Okay, we have to take a 2-minute break. I am just loving this conversation. Thank you, Meir. So don't go away, please. We'll be right back in 2 minutes to continue this conversation. I look forward to hearing more.
Having Courageous Conversations is proudly sponsored by Unity Kitchener. We are a welcoming spiritual community where open dialogue, personal growth, and authentic connection are encouraged. Join us Sundays at 10:30 a.m. Eastern for inspiration, reflection, and meaningful conversation. Learn more at unitykitchener.org. Unity Kitchener, a positive path for spiritual living.
Please help us say thank you to all of our organizational sponsors, including the Hepperlin Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Center for Spiritual Living United Life, Sunshine Cathedral, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Universal Joy Center, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center, Ottawa, Home Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living, North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living, Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. On behalf of New Thought Media Network, thank you, and please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, come be you. Come expand your spiritual journey. Join us for Just the Talk, Sundays, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Mountain Time. Experience Unity Kitchener and Ottawa. Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Unity of Garden Park, New Thought Philadelphia, the Sunshine Cathedral, Unity of Savannah, and the Om Center for Spiritual Living. Come unleash your spiritual potential with New Thought Media Network.
Well, welcome back. So I don't know, Mark, if you have any questions. I wrote something down. Okay, so you go ahead, and I'll wait to ask mine later.
First, I have a statement in that I'm a believer that I can do more than perhaps other people may think that I can do, because I put my mind to it, right? Yes, I'm going to do it. Even if I have a certain physical limitation, I will put my mind to it and I'll do it. Ironically, I used to work at the School of Optometry at the Low Vision Clinic. So a number of things that you're speaking of, I've been exposed to. And there were some patients.
Pay attention to something. I'll give you a couple of statistics.
Okay.
First of all,
Okay, just one moment, please. Just one moment. I just have a question for you. So there were patients that would come in, they'd be all excited because they would have heard about something and they would like, I'm going to do this and whatever. And not what you're suggesting, but they would have, their mind would say they can do this. And then they were disappointed about the outcome. So my question to you is, how do, if a technique does not work for someone, are you able to support them as well?
yes, but I want to say what I wanted to say at first. When you go to an ophthalmologist, the chance, if you never had glasses before, the chance that the ophthalmologist will prescribe glasses for you is 15%. Because they check many other things. They check your periphery, your pressure, the bottom of your retina, your optic nerve, etc. You go to an optometrist, the chance you get glasses is 50%. Because somehow that's their tool. I mean, they do check periphery, but they're very much into giving glasses. So that's an interesting thing. And so in terms of what people feel and how disappointed they get, if people are disappointed with my work with them, I of course want to find other avenues that can help them. But at the end of the day, the question is also the person, him or herself. I think it takes two to tango. And I think it's very important to find the right person that will be to some extent optimistic. I want to tell you about one of my students who was, her name was Sonia in Brazil, who was, like yourself, a low vision specialist. And then she studied my method. So one woman came to her because the doctor sent her to her, crying, saying, my daughter was born without an iris, right? Now that's a big deal. And so the doctor said she'll be blind forever. And that makes sense. How can you do without an iris when the pupils cannot constrict and bring the light in and out? She was 4 months old. Now those things cannot happen to an adult, but she was 4 months old. And Sonia started to look at her in a dark room, and she felt there was some response to light. Now, Sonia is very Catholic, and the mother was very Catholic in Brazil, big believers. And she said to the mother, can you just try and believe that your daughter will get better? And the mother cried, and then she said, yes, I will. And she gave her all kinds of light exercises in the dark, showed her the sunning exercise that we do, showed her massage around the eyes, massage. And then Sonia met me and Jean later. In 8 months, the infant developed normal iris, and the ophthalmologist didn't understand how it happened. But that can happen to infants. So what I want to say is that faith is important. And the problem that we have is that people want immediate, quick results. And sometimes they don't get them. But if they cannot get them, what I'm trying to work with them is on emotionally accepting their life as it is. That becomes a very important thing. That they don't get the results that they want, to like the life no matter what. And that's very important. I mean, I was born to deaf parents. My son suffered from some developmental problems and autism, which makes life hard for him. My daughter have actually developed pretty good. There are many things in life that we have to live that we don't like. But the most important thing is to like life, to accept that life is a gift, it was given to us, and we should like it no matter what. But what I want to say is that the world of movement is vast, and those who are very open to the world of movement will see change. And this is one of so many stories. Like, I was getting a phone call from a student of mine from Brazil who then lived actually in Israel, and her grandson was born from toxoplasmosis, and they said that the macula in his right eye is missing. That's huge because the macula is what makes you see clearly, right? And so the grandma said, should we give up on it? I said, no. And I said, patch the eye that sees and start to stimulate with light. 20 days later, I'm getting a phone call from her. It was funny. I went to England to teach, came back. 20 days later, I'm getting a phone call from her and say, oh, they say it was misdiagnosis and the macula is just scarred. He has a macula, okay? Then I've given him more exercise to take the infant to the sun and to take the infant out and to play and talk to the infant, even though they can't understand anything then, but it helps that you talk to them, to the subconscious. You know what? They said it was a misdiagnosis. He has a good macula. And then I saw him at the age of 8 because he was wearing glasses because he studied a lot in the Jewish school, yeshiva. After that, I met him at the age of 20. He's producing movies and his eyes become dry. Completely normal vision, right? So what I'm saying is how things can change is just amazing, but it takes two to tango. He had a grandmother who was crazy about him and was doing anything for him. If you look at my book, Movement for Self, you read about my grandmother, how much she loved me. My parents were deaf. My grandmother went with me to the hospital, lied with me in bed, massaged me, calmed me down because I was so upset over all the noises in the hospital, kids who were crying, as I had my 5 cataract surgeries. And I really believe that without my grandmother's love, I would never have the energy to work on myself. That's a very important thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So your social environment, the love of your partners, the love of your children, those things are so important.
Yes.
And without which you can actually get nowhere in life.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you talk about people are disappointed with some of the things you gave them, which I'm sure I would not be one of them, because when I was getting a 38 diopter lens, with which I would put my nose in the book and I would be able to read letter by letter, took me a chapter of 30 pages about an hour to read, I would go to the beach and my uncle said I'm behaving really well because he expects a 16-year-old, a 15-year-old to create noise, commotion. I would just put the book on my nose, and all the people could do whatever they wanted to do. But I was able to read. Cost me headache, I was able to read. Too much headache, I was reading bread. But I remember how it was important for me to succeed with what I do. So the passive attitude of people, that thing of they want to get from you everything they should get for themselves, is unhelpful. I work with people highly motivated.
Yeah. And so what it's so similar to what Unity teaches, in that there's 5 principles. I mean, there's obviously more, but the 5 main ones are that there's one power, one presence everywhere. The second one is that if there's only one, I am a part of it. And the third one is how we create, our thoughts create. And then the fourth one is prayer or meditation. And the fifth one is walk your talk, which is what you're talking about. You're saying that you have to believe.
I'm Jewish. I celebrated Pesach or Passover yesterday with my partners. And I'm a complete believer in the 5 principles of unity. I lectured in a bunch of churches, not as a pastor, of course, but for my work and my look. You don't have to go far when Einstein said that the one who believes that there is past, present, or future lives a stubborn illusion. And to a great extent, in many ways, with your thoughts, if they're powerful enough, you can create your reality,
That's
one
it.
way or another.
Yeah.
But the point is, they have to be really deep and subconscious, because many times you can have positive thoughts in the outside where your inside doesn't believe a word of them.
Exactly.
And you down and repeat it a million times and they don't mean. That's why I believe in positive action. As you say,
Yes.
you walk your talk.
Yes.
I believe in positive action, otherwise forget it. And
Yes.
in acceptance that every step you make forward is important. As they say in Judaism, a rich person who believes, who is happy with his fair share. You could have $1,000 and feel rich, and you could have $1 trillion and feel poor. The question is, how you feel about it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And yeah, so I agree. I just have to say one more thing, and then Mark, I'm going to zip my mouth for a moment. When we say,
Cheryl,
yes.
candy?
Say again?
Do you have a toffee candy? You said you're going to zip your mouth.
I'm going to zip my mouth, yeah. See, I'm also Jewish. I grew up Jewish, so I can talk like you too. Anyway, so when we say thoughts create, and we all can look at it differently, to me, it's the perception that we think through how we are interpreting something. So exactly what you're saying, you can say one thing and internally you believe another thing. So it's not going to do anything. But when you have a belief, then you will see it and create it through that thinking because of your belief.
And not only that, you will affect the world consciousness.
Yes, exactly. So, yeah.
I'm not the first who's saying it. Carl Jung said that. Your thought, let me put it this way. As soon as I get a person with muscular dystrophy to walk better, even if it's momentary, to breathe better, to be more alive, I feel that contributed to another consciousness in the world. When I have groups, we always finish by holding hands and thinking about the other person and thinking about the universal strength. So in a way, your ability to change things to the better doesn't only affect the person or the thing you have changed, but affects everything.
Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's the butterfly effect, right? The butterfly effect, the ripple.
I so often say in a group that I facilitate, just when you're out on the street and you say hello to somebody with a smile, somebody you've never seen before, even if it's somebody that appears to be very grumpy or whatever, if it's how you present yourself in the world. Like, what if you changed one moment, like you're saying, one moment in someone's life, it's got to have a ripple effect and spread out into the world. Quick question. You have PhD. What is your PhD in?
On my work with muscular dystrophy.
Okay. Interesting.
It's not a recognized PhD. It doesn't really mean much because it's external. About the failed medications. There was specific medication that they tried in the 80s called levodopa. It didn't do anything, but I've helped several muscular dystrophy patients to walk better, do better, sometimes postpone death quite a bit. I worked on 6 different kinds of muscular dystrophy. My knowledge is not formal, even though I studied in universities, but it's not formal. Because when I studied, I started to explain what I'm doing. My knowledge is my experience. 54 years of experience, basically.
Yeah. Thank you for that. What was your draw to muscular dystrophy, or was it just circumstance that brought patients with muscular dystrophy to you?
If you read the story of my life, you see that there was a librarian who was afraid of the law. So she was only teaching some people after time. And she introduced a young kid to me who have shown me exercises in the Bates method in his interpretation. And I worked with them so intensively that then she introduced me to a polio patient who she was able to help after 18 surgeries to walk with less limp. And then what happened is, as that happened, I was introduced to all kinds of people, including people with muscular dystrophy. And I saw that I'm able to get them to move where they couldn't move before. And at that point, I didn't know how to explain because I did not know where the muscle groups are or whatever have you. I mean, I did acquire that later. But that was my true education, meeting people and people referring others from the age of 17. 17, okay? And I'm not sure that now at the age of 71, I know more than I knew then. So what happened is I met people on the beach, worked with them, worked with myself, worked with them. And then I would bring people to my home and work with them. And when I studied in university, one polio patient sent the other. And then I got muscular dystrophy. You have to read my book. There was an institute that me, with my legal blindness, another beautiful lady with polio, and a wonderful young kid with muscular dystrophy, we produced that institute. One of our clients, by the way, it was in secret then, was the chief of staff in Israel. Because of the Kippurim War, his back was thrown out. Everybody in the echelon, in the political echelon, accused him for for beginning failure of that war. Then it succeeded. But then what happened is his back was so tight, he could not do anything. And next day, there was a wedding to his daughter. So I worked with him from 12 o'clock to 2 o'clock at night, released him from his back pain. Nobody knew about it. Next day, he was dancing with Golda Meir and with other people, other dignitaries in the wedding of his daughter. And so my name became so big for a while that people would come to me from everywhere, basically. And the thing that captured me the most is working with degeneration, because, you know, you could have a frozen situation. You didn't degenerate, although that degenerates too with time. But you can have a condition of degeneration, and you have to treat it with respect. You don't want to strain those muscles, for example. You want to work with them mainly in water, in a pool. You want to do very specific body work, which is very gentle. And slowly, you can build up more muscles and negate the process of destruction. Because I always say, wherever there is a process of destruction, there could also be a process of buildup.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing you say throughout the talk is that really we need to pay attention to our body and become more aware of our different parts of our body and what they're telling us, and work with ourselves holistically, not just one thing at a time.
Absolutely. Look what terrible relationship we have with our body. We sit in the chair for too long. We don't stretch to relax. I would love to have people stretching every 20 minutes, pushing the chest forward and the leg backwards and loosening the body. We only pay attention when we have specific needs, sexual needs, food, hunger, but we don't pay attention to the need to breathe deeper. We don't pay attention to the sense of fatigue. It kind of builds up slowly and slowly. So being in touch with the inside of your body connects relationship between your brain, and I must say, and your mind, and every cell in your body. There is a book that is probably out of print now by Thérèse Bertherade called The Body Has Its Reason, where she says, your body is your house, you're the landlord, and a long time ago you lost the keys. And so the reconnection to your body is so important. It is really thanking to the deity that your body exists.
Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful.
We're down to
Anything else?
5 minutes.
Yeah. I was going to say anything else, Marg? I can't believe that. Actually, it's gone so quickly for me anyway.
I just, it's been wonderful to be with you today. And I wonder if you have anything. We've got less than 5 minutes left on the show. Quickly, anything that you would like to leave the audience with?
You know, we have 600 muscles in the body. Most people use only 50 out of them. We have tremendous much of the brain which is not being used. Although I must say it could be used wrongfully. You know that some blind people were their occipital lobe was blocked, and when it was blocked, read Braille, because the occipital lobe is not the sensory area, which is in the frontal lobe, but the brain used that because you see. What happens is many cells in our brain can work if we activate them. So the big thing for me to say to people is to breathe and relax. Come to our workshops online if you cannot come to us in person. You can definitely look at our website and do that. The next one is on April 24th. Come to our workshops. I'm going to New York soon. I'm going later on to Israel, if hopefully the war is finished, so people can come to me and gather. We'll do a retreat. I go everywhere in the world, and I want to.
What about Canada? You're going to be so near to Canada when you're in New York.
Absolutely. What you need to do is to create a workshop for me in a good Unity church. Yeah. So anyway, what I'm saying is, the important thing for me is for people to understand that we need to work with the body deeply, softly, discover muscles we never knew we had before, and integrate the work with the muscles that we always overworked. That's prevention of nerve disease like multiple sclerosis. That's prevention of arthritis. That's prevention of many, many problems that we have these days. And the more we are in touch with ourselves and we use the forces of nature, like the sun, like the wind, we can make a huge difference in our life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I'm going to say thank you. Thank you so much, Meir. It's really been an absolute pleasure and very inspiring to hear, the way you talk and the way people have experienced this and healed themselves and not had to have surgeries and things like that. So thank you so much for coming on our show. Marg, I'll let you have the last word.
Thank you, Shara. Again, thank you for being with us today and having a discussion. And I so appreciate when you say, like, we can all have the opportunity to make a difference in this world. It doesn't have to be somebody else. It's with all of us to make a difference in this world. And I took down the words being in touch with one's body. So I'm in touch with outside and now going to be in touch inside.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And don't believe when you're being told it cannot change. Work on yourself.
Yeah. And this is the thing, yeah. Because even when people, we don't have any time, but when people don't experience anything, they may not be doing the practice. And
or
yeah,
being present and enjoying the life you have. I think Meir said that too.
Yes, he did.
Enjoy
Absolutely.
the life and appreciate. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Appreciate life anyway, always.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Meir. Don't go away. And to everybody else, thank you so much for watching us, for being here today. And whether you're watching now or later, please like, share, and subscribe. Bye for now.